movies like Iron Man all the way to Spider-Man, now officially out, almost 10 years, just wanted to reminisce and just talk about as in my top 5, believe it or not, MCU villains. Yeah, I know one of the criticism Marvel's has always had was the villains have always been weak, but every now and then there's this one little gem that a villain actually was good in these MCU movies. And I'll take into account because I take serious the Marvel world of the films and the Netflix world of that, and I'll rack them both up to make it more fair because really it's the movie world that is the prominent, and then the Netflix world they've been taking their villains seriously. So I'll kind of add them both up in this list. Yeah, because we've had some good ones already in the past. We have had so many like where the Marvel movies have been so great, but those villains were like the little blemishes of those movies, and other ones where the movie was like at least at fair good, but the villains were really good in those. And then we've had a mixture where one of the Marvel movies has had a great movie and also a good villain to counter the hero. I love when there's a good villain because it just makes the movie that much better. It's something you can contrast to a hero. I've always been a fan of that. I want to see them do more of that. I know Marvel said that they just want to focus more on their heroes. It's fine, I understand that. But when you add a villain that it just actually elevates the stakes for the hero, just adds that more great to it. It just adds that awesome weight where the movie was already good, but it's even better because there's something for our protagonist to face, to have this actual burden of something that they need to conquer. So now this is just my personal list. This is how I feel at this time, what I think could be it. Could change some other time, you never know. I'm going to only include those two. I'm not going to include all the other Marvels, whether it's TV shows, pre-existing ones, the ones in the Fox, just that little lineup. So coming in at number 5 is the Kingpin from Daredevil. He, at that time, we had really like Loki, who was always saying he's the best villain, and we've had other ones, but when Wilson Fisk came in, a lot of people were like, whoa, this guy should be one of the villains in the movies. He is just way too good for the show, and the show is really good. The way how he was in both seasons of Daredevil, not a lot in the second one, but he was there showing my presence is still here. But in the first one, we get his backstory, how he was always tormented as a kid from his father especially, and how he became the man he is. And you never really have seen that too much in these Marvel Studios projects. So getting that from Wilson and the way he counters with Daredevil, where even Daredevil is not afraid to face the man, but Wilson Fisk is someone that even Daredevil should be worried about, at least trying to go one-on-one with. And he sold it as what you could get as a really good villain. Coming in at number 4 is the Purple Man from Jessica Jones, just played by the incredible David Tennant. Those that know from Doctor who he is, just how great of an actor he is. And seeing that he's like more of a hero in that one, but in this one he's the villain, but still he was a villain that is like Wilson Fisk, where he did something good that were like a blueprint of how to make a great villain, but he made it his own. He was more of a villain where he needed to be sick and twisted if he needed to manipulate people because that's his power, but also he had that charm, that comedic little charm. And I love how both of the Netflix villains were so menacing but different in their own styles. How he could get to Jessica's head, even control over Luke Cage in those episodes he's in Jessica Jones. And then seeing his backstory, how he messed up Jessica Jones's mind psychologically, and other stories that might have happened to that are way more even heavier. And just how he can make anybody do something, and seeing his backstory a little bit as a kid, similar to Wilson Fisk. But then just how he uses his power. He uses it like he could use it to take over the world, but he's just doing it to manipulate people's minds, and that could be even more scary because you can, tear people from the inside instead, and then eventually that's how you can have your way around everywhere you want. And seeing how he wants to do some kind of good, but really he's already accustomed to more of this lifestyle, the way he's been doing it since we were introduced in the TV show. He's just a villain that you root for because he's a good villain, but just the way he's so witty, just how he presents himself with his dialogue, his powers. Coming in at number 3 is Ego from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. At that time, at that stage, I wasn't sure where he was gonna be. He was really likable as Star Lord's dad. I was having a blast seeing him interact, build a relationship with Peter, seeing that he wanted to be a father, and then it helps Kurt Russell being a good actor he is, how charming he is. He really did feel like that would be Chris Pratt's dad in the movie. But then when you feel that he might be the villain, I was like, oh man, I was kind of disappointed that he's gonna become a villain. But and even though he had like kind of cliches of taking over the world, it was a taking over the world scenario where he wanted to conquer with his son. You know, sound familiar? But still, he wanted to conquer with him, and there was still this like other layer of story of how he was the bad guy of the movie. And then for me, one of my favorite moments of the Marvel Studios of like at least an Empire twist, as the closest, not comparing it to, was when he said that he killed his mom. That was a really surprise with me, and it really elevated it to a point where now you need to hate him, but it didn't feel forced in my opinion. Just it showed that how much of an ego he is, and I enjoyed seeing his character the way we started with him and the way we ended it. He's just a villain that he had a little bit more weight to him. You connected him with the hero. It really felt like the way most personal we felt with the villain since like Loki, because we had to tie it with one of our heroes, and it just shows, you know, how far he could go. Because even just metaphorically, what's his name, you know, where he lives, how big is, you know, all of his ego, though, what he would do just to feed to his own rightfulness. Coming in at number 2, and this is fresh out of our mind, is Vulture from Spider-Man Homecoming. My God, the way this guy's he's just a human that wants to do his own work, just wants to feed his family. He gets taken something from it, so now he's gonna get, you know, his little group of buddies and try to take back however they can and make a fortune of what they think is rightfully theirs. It was so good that this villain definitely did not want to take over the world. He just wanted to feed his family. He didn't see himself as a bad guy, which are some of the best villains. When you don't see yourself like that, it just felt great, especially in this world, how there was a villain like that. He really felt like a Netflix villain, but finally brought to the big screen. It's a great scene like that, something like that. We might not get that with Wilson Fisk, Purple Man, but seeing it with the Vulture was at least refreshing. It felt good for a while. And Michael Keaton, another person, just, they might be because all these actors are good actors, but still, they bring out the best and make some of the best villains in this world. So seeing him kind of be this Vulture, but, you know, be like low key, like that person that we know from the comics, but still just has all the essentials, the spiritual, the Vulture is in there. Just the way he just frightens Peter, especially when he, you know, scared him in that one car scene. As a human, like as Andre Toomes and as the Vulture, he had it all of like at least bringing this menacing of where he's not like, he's gonna not show it, but he's gonna play back. He's like, you mess with me, I make sure that you'll regret it. I just love that type of villain he is. Clearly number 1. It's going to be number 1 for a while. We could be getting another one that might dethrone him. You never know. Especially how the villains are now improving nowadays for the MCU. But clearly number 1 is Loki already from the Avengers, Thor, The Dark World, this upcoming Ragnarok. Just Loki. Just, he is a person that just was entitled to something. Just, even though he comes from this high royalty of like gods, he's just a kid that wanted a spot, you know, to prove his dad. He had the ambitions of what one would relate to, just like us, who just wants to improve, that shows that they're worth something. And then Hiddleston just gives a good performance. Just, he sells this as this person that doesn't want to feel like he's evil, but he's conflicted, but he will feed to his own needs. He might have to step a little bit, whether it's against his brother, his father. Really does bring out the best in Thor. I love when every time those two are on screen, whether they're hating each other or whether they're having a good time as bros. You really feel it. We have seen a lot from him now, so we've seen the good and bad from him. Just shows that when his presence is on the screen, you know, you're not supposed to take him lightly. You better make sure you're paying attention, because you don't know what this man can do. He's just a person that demands just all presence when he comes on the screen. So let me know, guys, what you thought of my list. Let me know your list to see what we agreed, what we disagreed on. These are just mine. There is so many other honorable mentions, like the Winter Soldier from Captain America Winter Soldier. He was really good, just as this assassin. Alexander Pierce, the way he controls everything from the back of how S.H.I.E.L.D. and Hydra are. Zemo from Civil War for me was a surprising hit. He was on this list for a while until we got these other ones, but the way he just actually got into the Avengers' mind, how he worked, just some good villains that have been around this universe. More not great than others, but still these movies are good. And then when there is a villain there, it just elevates to that more. So let me know your guys' opinions on the list on the comments below. And as always, roll an empire, laugh, smile, repeat.